Yeah, so here we've arrived in the town of Fiskars, where the namesake of where all your axes and your scissors come from. Stainless Finland. So they actually made, it was like, they basically actually, I think they started like 100 years ago, making steel, forging it, and it's a pretty old company. I don't think they don't make it here anymore though, but and these like the old water mills, and this whole town basically is where the whole Fiskars thing started from. Anyway, so actually no, there was something I actually wanted to talk about was I've been test riding these different bikes, not test riding, so I've been renting different bikes with different engines, also to basically look at what bike I could potentially get next. I mean, it's not that I'm bored of the KTM. You know, the single cylinder, I feel, you know, it can only take you so far. When I've been riding on this now for the third day, I feel I've learned so much already. You're not changing gear all the time, you learn how to use the whole power band. So what it's done really, it's kind of put me into quite a quandary in terms of what I want to do with this. For the longest of time, I mean, I was pretty sure, you know, sort of like 99% sure that the bike that I wanted to get after the KTM was a Triumph 675, and I basically thought that, you know, it'd be a good intermediate bike between that and going to a liter bike. And now that I've had a chance actually to ride a liter bike now, I mean, I know it's not an actual super bike. I mean, this is still, you know, 130 horsepower. Of course, it's a little bit detuned compared to, you know, a full-blown super bike, but it's good. And I mean, the closest thing I can compare it to is in America. My family over there, their cars are all V6s and V8s, and when you're used to the power that a V6 or a V8 gives you, I mean, it's, you know, the power is always there. You're never searching for it. You know, you can always, even when you're at higher speeds, you have that the ability to pull yourself out of any kind of issue. I mean, this 1050cc 130 horsepower has been just such a good touring bike. Here, Tammisaari. Oh, for fuck's sake! No way, can't do that. I mean, I know it's not your traditional touring bike, but you know, I just don't like the look of just like actual touring bikes. I find them just too much fairing going on. Well, I went the wrong way, but you know, who cares? I mean, it's just so much fun when you're on this thing. I mean, just the power that when you ask for it, it's just all there. And you know, when it comes to risk taking, you know, I'm pretty sensible. You know, for me, when I look at the road and all the corners, to me, it's the whole thing is an equation. You just work out in your brain. You know, your brain is incredibly capable in terms of finding out exactly, roughly what speed you can do it. Your own personal abilities as well are factored in. The road surface, what you feel the bike can do. You know, how you know the braking is, and you can I mean, I can feel it. At least I feel myself. I mean, I'll probably end up in a spill after saying that, but I have a pretty good feeling of what I'm capable of. Here you go, these are the roads, corner after corner after corner. Fucking hell. Damn wasp just committed suicide on my helmet. So yes, then that puts me into this quandary of what do I want to get. You know, I love the sound of triples. You know, for me, there's just something good about that sound. It hits the spot. So this is the problem. I mean, I always thought that I would never be a motorcycling cliche and buy a Ducati, but I was looking at pictures the other day and I came across the 1098, and it just looks so so pretty. You know, Italian design, it's great. You know, you can't fault it, and I like good designs. Here's the problem is that now that I'm going toward the biking cliche stuff, I mean, I'm sort of now in limbo with, do I stay with the Triumph or do I go save up for the Ducati? I mean, they'll both be roughly the same price when I come to buy them. I don't care about, as you know, if I can find a second-hand bike, I'm fine with it. You know, I'm not somebody that needs to buy everything brand new, and the depreciation on a new machine, I personally just can't stomach it. I just find it's too much. Now that I've ridden this Speed Triple, I like liter bikes. You know, I like that sort of the V8 power, call it, that it has. For me at least, there are 3-4 things when I look at a bike. You know, there's the looks of it. You know, you have to want to like it. You know, when you see the bike, you know, every time you see it, you should be, you know, it should move you emotionally somehow inside. Then the next part is, I would say, is how it sounds. You know, when you turn it on, again, you should look forward to the feeling. You know, when you hear the fuel pump prime itself, you know, you hear all the little relays clicking off and on, and then when you fire the ignition, you know, you hear it, you know, the initial rumble, the purr, or whatever, as it moves on into the purr. Especially in the 1098S has there's a full Termi exhaust system that you can have on it, and it just sounds, I mean, Divine it doesn't even do it justice. And especially when you hear it in the canyons. There's a lake down there, you can have a look. Especially when you hear it in the canyons. I mean, it's, you know, there are a few videos on YouTube that I've seen, and it just makes you feel really good. And I mean, the same way this does as well. Listening to this Triple, riding on it, you know, even if I'm going slowly, is that I feel good just hearing the sound, just the sound itself. So exactly, so we've done the looks, we've done the sound, and then of course how it rides as well. I mean, that is still as important as well. There's no point having all the looks and everything and it rides like shit. Me personally, I haven't ridden enough, so I can't really say what's good, what's bad. You know, I'd need to ride probably another 5 years to be able to tell you that. But for me, is if I feel that it's able to turn nicely, you know, like this one, I feel, you know, even though it's reasonably heavy, this bike, but I feel like I can move it around quite easily. But of course, what I'd need to do is I do need to test ride them. I mean, I may sit on the Ducati, and you know, that bag of rock sound clanging around in the dry clutch. I mean, it just may be of no interest to me. So hang on, this guy wanting to pass me, and yeah, Crumble had asked, you know, what I thought of it, because when I was initially talking with him, is that see, look at that, that's a proper wave. I was looking at between a Honda CBR 600F, and I was looking between this bike, you know, and there was a bit of money saving opportunity in there, and I went with it. I thought, you know what, let's just spend a bit more and go on the Triple, because, you know, how often do you get to ride, and how often do you get to rent these things? I mean, they're not that common. Yeah, so I went for the Speed Triple, and honestly, I don't regret it one bit. I mean, I'm going to probably end up spending around, I don't know, 700 quid on the total rental plus the extra mileage. But, you know, I've had a blast. As opposed to having to fork out massive ownership costs, you know, I've been able to ride around in Finland. You know, I wanted to do this. I wanted to ride around in Finland and have this summertime riding. And, you know, once you've done it, you don't need to do it for a while. So, yeah, it costs a bit, but you've got to enjoy it, right? But no, he gets full points for recommending the Speed Triple. You know, I necessarily wouldn't have rented this without seeing. I think he's one of the few riders out there that are on or a few motovloggers out there or who's had a Speed Triple. And look how nice I am. There's all these roads, and I'm going slowly so you guys can hear me. I hope you appreciate this. If I sort of wrap this up, is that where I thought I was sure, where I wanted the Triumph, where I was, you know, that was practically 100% I knew that was going to be my next bike, is that I'm now almost as conflicted when I was looking for my first bike. You know, I was, you know, a bit like the KTM. The KTM was the wildcard choice. You know, I didn't even know the manufacturer existed until I started looking around at bikes. and I've really enjoyed it. I don't think I'll ever sell the bike, because for what it does, around town, it is great. It's such a great little bike, and especially on really tight roads. And that single cylinder sound as well. I really like that. That sort of really brappy, farty quality to it. But then, like now, when I've been able to try a more powerful bike, this is the most powerful bike I've ridden, and as a liter, as also my first liter bike as well. And that's where I want to be, and that would be why I'd go for the Ducati, because it has that power headroom that I want. And I always make sure that I have ABS for rental bikes. I want to try and find ways that I can avoid having a crash and having to spend money on the fucking deductible, the excess. But honestly, I can give a fuck about traction control and ABS on that, so I don't see why I would be spending more money. Yeah, so that's really where I am. I mean, you don't need to tell me. I know both bikes, they will move your soul. So I know I'm in the right area in terms of what I'm looking for. That's where we are. Right, I've given you guys enough time, so I'm going to put the camera away and enjoy the rest of the evening. Anyway, it's pretty hot in England when I'm recording this. It's about the time when there was that massive lightning storm, or thunderstorms. 35,000 lightning bolts within 18 hours. Not bad. We don't usually have such stuff. Anyway, signing off, guys. Enjoy whatever your evening, morning, night. See you later.